Hi guys, you're welcome back to the channel today. Just in case you're coming across any of my videos for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Please go ahead and hit on the subscribe button and please turn on notification bell. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to draft a 6 pieces blouse. So sit tight, make sure you watch this video till the end. So I have my materials here. Of course, you guys know what tape is and a ruler. Okay, so I just went ahead to connect like a straight line here, which is going to serve as my starting line, or you can also call that the shoulder line. So from this point, I'm going to place my tape this way and come down to my bust point. Okay, shoulder to bust point for me is 11 inches, and then I'm going to come down to my under bust. But right here, I went ahead to mark 15 instead of 14 inches. So I'm going to correct that now and mark 14 inches here, which is my under bust. Okay, and then I'm going to mark my waistline, which is 17 inches, and after then I will mark the full length of the blouse, like where I want the blouse to stop. So I want mine to stop at 26 inches by the time I'm done. So you can decide to make yours 22, 24, whatever, but I marked 26 inches for my own. So right now I'm just going ahead to connect all this line to give me a straight line. After connecting all these lines, the next thing to do is to take our shoulder measurement. Okay, so place your tape this way from the center part, mark half of your shoulder measurement, and then you're going to come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. Now this is because our shoulder is not straight, so still leaving my tape this way, I'm going to come in by 3 inches for my neck width, like how wide I want it to be, and then I'll come down by 3.5 inches. So the top we are trying to recreate has like a high neck, so you can decide to make yours 3 by 3, or you can even decide to make yours 3 by 4. So for me, I'm using 3 by 3.5. So I'm just going to use this my marker here and make this line very bold. Can you see? So guys, once you are through with that, the next thing to do is to now connect from this 1 inch point you came down by, connect it to your neckline this way. Can you see what I'm doing? Just connect it to meet your neckline just like this. So once you're through with that, the next thing to do is to now take your chest line. And to do that, you need to divide your round bust divided by 6 and add 1.5 to it. So whatever you get becomes your chest line, or you can decide to just come up from your bust point by 2 inches, okay? Or you can decide to place it this way and mark it. So whenever I divide mine, I get 8 inches, okay? So right now, I'll just connect this to give me a straight line, just like what I'm doing here. So guys, what we are doing here is we are trying to create like a basic bodice. So if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice, I already have a video on my channel on how to do that. Please refer back to that video so you know exactly what we are doing here. So I went ahead to mark the shoulder line, chest line, bust line, under bust line, waistline, and also the hemline. That's the full length of my blouse. Okay, so right now the next thing we are going to do is to now come to this point here, connect it to your chest line this way. So we are now trying to create our armhole. Okay, so if you don't understand, please refer back to the video I made on how to draft a basic bodice. So after connecting this line, I'm now going to measure what I have in between this points. Remember, is 8 inches here, so half of 8 inches is 4. So I'm going to mark 4 inches here, and from that point you can decide to just fold your tape this way and also mark it. So you can decide to use that method. So from this point here, I'm going to come in by ½ inch. Can you see? Come in by ½ inch, and then once you're through with that, come to your chest line here and mark your round bust divided by 4. Your round bust divided by 4. Go ahead and mark it there, and then you're going to now connect all those lines to give you your armhole. But before then, let's use my straight ruler here, connect this one first to meet this point, and then I'm going to now use my curved ruler and then connect the curve to meet the point I marked on my chest line, just like this. Once you're through connecting that armhole, the next thing to do is to now take our dart. So I'm going to come to the center part this way, place my tape here, and mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches, and that divided by 2 is 4 inches. So I went ahead to mark it on the bust line, under bust line. I'm going to mark it on the waistline and also mark it on the hemline as well. So once I'm through with this, I'll just use my straight ruler and connect all those points to give me a straight line. So guys, we are going to be taking our darts. So you're going to come to the side going towards the center of your pattern paper. You're going to mark ½ inch on that side. Can you see what I'm doing? So come to your under bust. You're going to mark ½ inch here. You come to your waistline, you're going to also mark ½ inch, and then come to your hemline and also mark ½ inch. So you're going to connect those lines to give you a straight line, but I'm going to be using my marker since we are already in the process of drafting or making our princess dart. So I'm going to be using this marker so that it's very bold for you to see. So I'll go ahead and connect it to give me a straight line. So once you're through with that, on the side going towards the side, like where you have your opening. So I'm going to open this up and show you like this part here. Can you see? Make sure it's on this part here like this. You're going to mark 1½ inch, okay? So on that part there, I'm going to place my ruler, my tape, sorry. I'll just bring my tape and also mark 1½ inch on this pad. Mark it on the way on your under bust. You're going to mark it on the waistline and also mark it on your hemline. So once you're through, you're going to also connect it with a straight line, okay? Can you see? Just look at what I'm doing. I'll just use my marker and also trace out those points to give me a straight line. Now, once you're through with that, you need to now connect all those points with your curved ruler to meet your bust point. Okay, just look at what I'm doing. You're going to connect it this way, making like a little curve. Can you see? At this point, I was just trying to see how I can place my curved ruler to give me that nice curve. So you're going to place this way and then turn it over to this other side here and still connect it just like this. So by the time you're done, you have something looking like this. So once you're through with that, you're going to come up from your under bust. You're going to go up by about ½ inch from this point here, this point here. You're going to go up by ½ inch. Can you see? Just come up a little by ½ inch, and then you're going to connect a straight line to meet that point you marked. Just from this point here, can you see? Just connect like a straight line to meet that point. And then once you're through with this, you're now going to come to your armhole. Your armhole area, you're going to divide what you have there. So this point here, go ahead and measure what you have along this point. To do that, I'm going to try and place my tape this way. Can you see? Go ahead and place your tape this way and measure what you have in between those points. So I'll just place it this way and try to see how I can get the correct measurement. So I had 9 inches. So I'm going to divide this by 2. So 9 divided by 2 is 4½ inch. I'm now going to mark 4½ inch here. So to do that, still place your tape like this. Measure what you have here till you get to that 4½ inch. And then you are going to now make a point there. Can you see? You're going to make a point there. Once you're through with that, you're now going to use your curved ruler and connect from those points to meet that point you marked on your armhole. So I'm going to be using this curved rule this way. Please pay attention to this part, guys. I'm going to be using my curved ruler this way. Can you see? So I'm going to now connect a curve to meet the ½ inch we came up by from my bust point. Connect a curve this way. Can you see? Can you see? You'll notice that you have a very nice curve looking like this. So right now, you're going to come to this point here. You're going to come out here by ½ inch. You're now trying to take that. So come out on both sides by ½ inch, and then you're going to connect it back to the bust point. Okay, so if you can connect this back to the bust point, go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and then place your curved rule this way, just like what I'm doing. I'll just connect it back to the bust point, and then I'm going to repeat same thing for this other side. Connect it back to the bust point. So once you're through with that, you're now going to come to that armhole area. Okay, you're still going to come to that armhole area and go out here from this point here. You're going to go out by 1 inch. Just extend that point by 1 inch. Note that it has to be straight. Connect a straight line from that point. Can you see what I'm doing? You're going to connect it this way. So once you're through, you're now going to come to your armhole, and this point here, you're going to replace that 1 inch you went up by. You need to replace it here. So I'm going to mark it here. Okay, so once you're through with that, you're going to use your curve, connect it from this point here down to that 1 inch you marked. I hope you understand. Just look at what I'm doing here. Remember, we came up from this point here by 1 inch. So I'm going to now connect it to meet the 1 inch I marked on my chest line. Just like this. I'm just going to use this curve, connect it this way, just like this. So once you're through with that, that's now going to be our new armhole. Okay, so this other armhole is no longer needed. We are going to be making use of this. Okay, I just hope you understand. So this here is no longer needed. The new line we marked earlier is going to be our armhole. So once you're through with that, you're now going to come to your chest line. You will notice you have a little dart on your chest line. Now you need to replace that dart back so that it's not going to be too small. You need to replace the dart. So somewhere around here, I'm still just trying to like bring this down because I felt like it didn't really come out nicely, but it's still the same. You can decide to just make sure that yours gets to the bust point. So I'll just extend this line a little. Just extend this line because it was looking somehow at this area here. Just extend it. Make sure that it's looking very nice. Okay, so right now I'll just mark the little that I had there. I'll just replace it here. So you need to replace the dots you have. So right now you can see that my pattern paper is not enough to add my stitching allowance. So when I'm cutting this on fabric, I'm going to make sure to add stitching allowance to it. So come to your waistline and mark your round waist divided by 4. So I'll mark mine here, and I'll replace this dot I have here. So when you mark, replace the dot. I had about 2 inches. I'm going to mark it here. So because this paper is not enough, I'm not adding stitching allowance. But when I am cutting this on my fabric, I'm going to add my stitching allowance. So I just went ahead to extend my armhole to meet the point I marked, the little that we had on the chest line. So from that point now, I'm going to now connect it to meet my waistline. Remember, I marked my round waist divided by 4, and I replaced the dot I had on the waistline. So right now, come over to the hemline. You're now going to mark your round hip divided by 4. Your round hip divided by 4. So I'm going to mark mine. I'll mark it here, and I'm going to replace the dots I had here. You can see that the paper is not even enough to take like the dots on the waistline. I'm going to take note of all of this when I am cutting this on fabric. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that when we are sewing this in our next video. So go ahead and connect it to that point just like this. And once I'm through, I'm going to use my marker to make this way my hemline more visible, so you know where we are cutting out. So just connect it this way and you are done with this. So the next thing for you to do now is I'm going to mark all those part. So this part here is going to be cut off. Like, we are not going to be making use of all this part I'm marking with my marker. Please pay attention to the parts I'm going to be cutting out. So guys, before cutting this out, I want to make my waistline more visible. I'll use my marker to just mark my waistline here so I'll know where my waistline is starting from. Now when we are done cutting this out, you know why I had to make it visible. So it's time to cut. Please pay attention to the part I am cutting out.
I keep dreaming, but my dreams keep flying away. It's somewhere far beyond. Keep chasing them and I never rest for a day. There's something I don't do. I feel the wind blowing my face, but that's alright. I smile at people passing by. Some smile back, some might not. I'm always looking for a shame, but it's hot that I've been low key and I'm trying to stop. God.
So guys, this is it. This is how it looks after cutting this out. Can you see? So before we go over to drafting the back pattern, I'm going to open this up and show you. This is how the center of your blouse is going to look like. So if you don't want to make this a 6 pieces blouse, you can go ahead and use this as like your princess that's bustier. Okay, just in case you don't want to make this a 6 pieces, you can as well use this as your princess that's bustier. But because we are trying to like recreate a 6 pieces blouse, sorry, I'm going to like show you guys the next thing to do here. So now to make this a 6 pieces blouse, I'm going to be using this paper here to just like place it around the waist area. Just pay attention to what I'm going to be doing here. You're going to bring it this way, pick it up. You're going to pick one of these, anyone you're going to be making use of. So place it on the waist area here. Remember the side is 2 pieces, so you can just use any of it to just like extend this. Then when you are cutting this on fabric, you will need to cut 2 of this for the both side. So on the waistline here, this was why I had to just make the waistline more bold with my marker pen. So you're going to like bring the paper this way, you're going to pin it down. But if you have your sellotape, go ahead and then tape it down. And then I'm going to do same for the end of this part here. So once you're through, from this point here, you're going to go out to like about 5 or 3 inches, depending on how wide you want this to be. And one thing you need to know is the more you spread this, the more fabric you need to you need to have enough fabric to do this. So if you don't have enough fabric to work with, please go ahead and go out with by 3 inches or 4 inches. So I went out from that point there, I went out by 5 inches. 5.5 inch. So I'm going to now use my curved ruler and then connect it to meet that 5.5 inch. So I later changed my mind from using this curved ruler because I later found out that it didn't really come out very well. So after connecting it, I went ahead to use my straight ruler to do the rest. So you're going to see what I'm trying to say. So I was just trying to see how I can have a nice curve here, but it didn't really come out very well. So I don't think I'm going to be making use of this. So I'm going to explain this better when we are now cutting the second part. Okay, so you're going to like cut that part off just like this. Just go ahead and then cut it off. So when you do this, you have that 6 pieces effect already on it. Can you see? But I'm not going to be making use of this. I'm going to remove this later. I just wanted to show you guys how it looks, just in case you want to use the curved part. It's still very okay. So right now I'm going to bring the center front. Sorry, let's bring the side here. Okay, so let's work on the side here first. So you're going to bring this paper, mark the length you're going to use. I'm going to be using 5.5 inch. So I went ahead to cut this out with 6 inches. So just go ahead and then cut it out just like this. So you're now going to come to the waist area, place it this way. Make sure that you are taking note of the inches you need to use at the end. Place it this way and also pin it down. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to pin this down just like this. Please just pay attention to this part. Please, we're trying to get the 6 pieces effect on it. So I'll pin this down and then I'm going to come out from the hemline. I'll come out by 5 inches. So I measure it. It wasn't up to the 5 inches point, so I had to just adjust it again and pin it down. So you're going to now measure the length. If you're using 3 inches, go ahead and measure from that point and mark your 3 inches. But I'm going to be using 5.5 inch, so that point was just enough. So I'm going to now connect from the waistline down to my 5.5 inch I marked on the hemline. So right now I'll just go ahead and then cut it out. So at this point, I felt like the straight ruler was okay for me. So I'm going to be using this straight ruler here. So if you love the curved rule, go ahead and use it. The choice is yours, okay? So we are going to be making use of this. So I'm going to now do same for the center front. So when you are doing for the center front, note that you are not going to open it up this way. You need to do this on fold, okay? Do it on fold. Go ahead and fold it back like this. Please don't open it and do it on both sides. You need to fold it this way. Cut out your paper, pin it just like we did for the other side. So note that for the side, you need to just like use one pieces for, not that the side has two pieces, so you're going to use one, and you're going to put this paper on the both side. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. Just pay attention to what I'm doing here.
Don't feeling good, yeah, but when off I go, pretty afternoon, it's a fast boy, looking at the skyline, I keep dreaming, but my dreams keep flying away. A song we're far beyond, keep chasing them and I never rest for a day. There's something I don't do. I feel the wind blowing my face, but that's alright. I smile at people passing by.
So guys, this is how it looks after I was done. This is it. So I'm going to bring back this here. So I'm not going to be making use of this other one here. I'll just pick one of it this way, and then let's continue. So I'll remove this here. I'll just remove it and then start placing another one. So I'm going to put back or place back this paper here and pin it down. So we are going to do this for the both sides, just like what I've been trying to explain. So just look at what I'm doing.
Some smile back, some might not. I'm always looking for a shave when it's hot. I've been low key and I'm trying to stop. God, I'm feeling good. Yeah, but when off I go, pretty afternoon, it's a I keep dreaming, but my dreams keep flying away. A song we're far beyond, keep chasing them and I never rest for a day. There's something I don't do. I feel the wind blowing my face, but that's alright. I smile at people passing by. Some smile back, some might not. I'm always looking for a shave when it's hot. I've been low key and I'm trying to stop. God, I'm feeling good. Yeah, but when off I go, pretty afternoon, it's a fast boy, looking at the skyline. I keep dreaming, but my dreams keep flying away. A song we're far beyond, keep chasing them and I never rest for a day. There's something I don't do. I feel the wind blowing my face, but that's alright. I smile at people passing by. Some smile back, some might not. I'm always looking for a shave when it's hot. I've been low key and I'm trying.
So can you see what I was trying to say? They're going to like place, like put two on the sides, just like this. I just hope you understand. So you're going to use that to cut out two pieces on your fabric. So there will be no need for us to start like placing another two paper on the second side, like this part here. I just hope you understand. So instead of doing that, we'll just use this to cut out two pieces on the fabric. So when we are cutting this out, you understand better. So right now we are done with the front pieces. It is now time to work on the back. So by the time you cut this on your fabric, you will have it looking like this. So this is just going to give you that effect, okay? So let's go ahead and cut out the back pieces. So guys, for the back pattern, I have my pattern paper here. So if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice, please refer back to the video I made on how to draft a basic bodice, because I don't think I'm going to be doing this anymore since I already have a video on how to go about this. Please refer back to that video. So right now, what I'm doing here is just I went in by 1.5 inch for my zipper allowance, because the blouse is going to be having a zipper at the back. Okay, I want mine to have the zipper at the back, so that's what I'm doing here. I'll just connect this line till it gets to the length of my blouse. So go ahead and connect, mark your zipper allowance line, just like what I'm doing here. So at this point here, I'm going to measure from the top of this paper here to take the full length of my blouse, so I'll know where my zipper allowance is supposed to stop. So it's at this point I'm going to connect the line straight to meet that point. After connecting this line, the next thing I'm going to do is to start taking all my body measurements. And to do that, first let's connect a straight line at the top of this paper to serve as my shoulder line. So you already know how we went about this while drafting the front pieces. Just go ahead and then start taking your measurements. So from here, I'm going to mark my bust point, shoulder to bust point, and then because this is the back pieces, I'm not going to be adding under bust. So when you are marking the back, don't add your under bust. I went ahead to mark my waistline and the full length of my blouse. So right now, I'll just go ahead and connect all the lines. After connecting this line, let's go ahead and take our shoulder measurement. So I'm going to mark half of my shoulder, which is here, and I'm going to mark my neck width of 3 inches, and from that point I marked my shoulder. I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I'm going to come down by 2.5 inch for my neck depth. Okay, so right now the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and then connect it with my curved rule this way. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to now connect from the shoulder slope, the 1 inch I came down, connect it to my neckline like this. So once you are through with that, the next thing you are going to do is to take your chest line. So I'll be going up here by 2 inches. If you don't know how to do this, like I'll always say, go ahead and divide your round bust by 6 and add 1.5 to it. Whatever you get becomes your chest line. So I'll go ahead and connect this to give me a straight line. So after this, I'm going to now connect from this shoulder slope to meet my chest line, just like this, so that we can go ahead and then connect our armhole. So once I'm through with this, I will just go ahead and then mark all these lines so you know what we are doing here. This is the chest line, my shoulder line, this is my bust point, here is the waistline, and here is my hemline. So we are now going to take our darts. So remember, while we're drafting the front pieces, we took our darts from the bust line. So for the back here, we are going to start taking our darts from the chest line. Okay, but before then, let's go ahead and connect our armhole. So I'm going to divide what I have here by 2. I will just fold my tape like this. Divide what you have here by 2, and then from that point, you are going to come in by 1/2 inch. Once you're through with that, come to your chest line and mark your round bust divided by 4. Okay, your round bust, make sure you're taking it from this zipper allowance line here. Can you see? Can you see where I'm placing my tape? I'm going to mark my round bust divided by 4 here. And once I'm through, I'll use my ruler and connect my armhole. After connecting my armhole, let's go ahead and take out our dart. So just like I said, we are going to start taking from the chest line. Unlike the front pieces that we took our darts from the bust line, so I've marked it on the chest line, bust line, waistline, and on the hem line. And once I'm through with this, I will just use my ruler and connect this to give me a straight line. So right now, after connecting the straight line, come to your shoulder line here. You are going to divide what you have here by 2. So fold your tape and then make a point here. You're now going to connect from that line now to meet your chest line, just like what I'm doing here. connect it this way. And once you are through with that, come to your waistline. Okay, you are going to start taking your darts from your waistline. Remember to always take your darts from your waistline. I'm going to come out on both sides by ½ inch, and then I'm going to now connect this to my chest line. So first I'm going to place my roller this way, connect it from those points here to meet here, and after then turn it over to this side. I'll still connect it from this other part here to meet this top here. And once you are through with that, you're now going to connect it to meet your hemline. To do that, I'm going to place my ruler this way, connect it from here down to my hemline, and then I'm going to do same for this other part here. I'll connect it down to my hemline. So once I'm through with that, I'm going to come to my waistline here. I'll connect this line. I'll just extend this line to come out just like this. Can you see? And then I'm going to go out from this point here by ½ inch. This is to prevent your zip from having any bulginess at the back. Okay, so I'm going to come in and then connect this line to my waist, to my hemline area, does just like this. And after then connect it from this point again to somewhere around your chest line, just like this. So yeah, this is it. The next thing we are going to do now is to start taking the body measurement. Okay, so basically we are almost done with the back piece pattern. So right now my bust point divided by 4, or my round bust divided by 4, I marked it on the chest line, and I'm going to mark the little that I had on that chest line area. And after then I'm going to add my stitching allowance of about 2 inches. So remember, while we were drafting the front pattern, I didn't add stitching allowance to it because the paper wasn't enough, and I told you guys I'm going to go ahead and cut that on my fabric. Okay, so when I'm cutting the back pattern, I'm not going to like add stitching allowance to it again, but I'm going to add stitching allowance to the front pieces. So I went ahead to do same on the bust line. My round bust divided by 4, I marked it, I replaced the little that I had there, and I also add stitching allowance to it. So right now, come to your waistline. Make sure you are taking the measurements from the zipper allowance line. I'm going to mark my round waist divided by 4. I'll replace this that I had here and then add my stitching allowance. So I'm going to connect this from the bust line to meet the waistline just like this. After connecting that, I'm now going to come to my hemline. I'm going to mark my round hip divided by 4. My round hip divided by 4, and I'm going to, remember there's no darts on the hemline, so I'm just going to add my stitching allowance to it and then connect from my waistline down to the hemline. So basically this is how to go about the drafting of the back pieces. Okay, so right now I'm going to go ahead and make this line bold enough so that you know where we are cutting out. So for the waistline, I'm still going to make this line very bold. Remember we did same for the front pieces, so I'm still going to make the same thing on the back pieces like this. And then I'm going to come to this armhole area here and connect a curve to meet this other point, just to connect them together just like this. Can you see? So every other thing is going to be, we are going to cut out every other thing. So pay attention to the part I'm going to cut out.
I keep dreaming, but my dreams keep flying away. It's somewhere far beyond. Keep chasing them and I never rest for a day. There's something I don't do. I feel the wind blowing my face, but that's alright. I smile.
So guys, when you are done with that, you are going to cut out this zipper area here. Sorry, you're just going to cut it off. And right now we are going to divide the back pattern into 2. That's because this is a 6 pieces blouse, so you need to cut it out into 2 so that we can spread this out. So I'm just going to cut this through to the shoulder area. I just hope you can see where I'm cutting out. So just go ahead and cut off the darts area. I'm still going to do same for this other part here. I'm going to cut this off. So this is how it looks after I was done. So I'm just going to call this the center back, and here is the side back. Okay, so you don't get confused. So this part is the center and the other part is the side. So we are now going to spread this just like we did for the front. I'm going to bring another pattern paper. I'll bring another pattern paper here and then cut the one that will be enough for me to use. I'll just cut it out, and then I'm going to use it to like place it on this part like this. Remember, when you are doing this for the center part, you need to just do it on one part. Don't do it on the both part. I just hope you understand. So I will just go ahead and pin this down. I'll pin it down like this, and then I'm going to do same for this other part. I'm going to pin this part down. So once I'm through with that, I'm going to mark out 5.5 inch. So remember, we took out 5.5 inch for the front. I'm also going to do same here and connect from the waistline down to that 5.5 inch point I marked. Okay, so I'll just connect it to meet this point, and after then I'll just go ahead and cut this out. After cutting this out, we are going to go ahead and work on the side. So remember, for the side, you need to do this on both part. Okay, so just look at what I'm doing here. I'll cut this off and then use it to like place it inside. I'll just place it inside this way, making sure that I'm taking note of my waistline. I'm going to go ahead and also pin this part down just like we did for the center back, and also pin this part down, and I'll go out by 5.5 inch, connect it from my waistline to that point, and I'm going to do same for this other side.
So many times that I miss you. I know how to call when I want to. Now you got way bigger issues. You're running around like you're single. Slow down, only you the ginger, the whole town. Slow it sometime, go out, mountain for your back, make it run wild. Slow it sometime.
So guys, this is how it looks after I was done cutting this out. So you're going to use this center, the side back here, you're going to be cutting out 2 of these, and for the center back you will cut it out on fold. Likewise, the front pieces, you're going to cut the center front on fold. So I'm going to mark this the center, the side front, and here is the center front. Okay, so these are the both pieces here, and there are 4 pieces. Can you see? So this is how to just go about a 6 pieces blouse. Thank you for watching this video. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to sew this together. Thank you, and I will see you guys.